Hello friends, how are you? Hope everybody is well. Today I have come up with an explanation of Sleeping Beauty movie for you. So stay with me till the end of the video. And if you like the video, then don't forget to like, share and comment. Let's start the video. Where we first see a university student named Lucy. She has to stay away from home to study, and she did a lot of work to cover her expenses. She also works as a tech object in the lab, waiters the coffee shop, works Photoshop in an office, and works in a high-class bar, where she has physical relation with strangers for money. Besides, the landlord of the house she rented did not like her at all, and always told her to leave home. Besides, she had a friend named Birdman, where she occasionally visited the house of Birdman, and Birdman liked Lucy very much. But Lucy did not pay much attention. However, Lucy enjoyed spending time with Birdman. Lucy then saw an advertisement in a newspaper and applied for a job. And one day Lucy was called in for an interview, and there she was interviewed by a woman named Clara, and Lucy has to work under her. Clara tells her everything about the job and says she has to serve food with a very short dress at a private party, but no one there will force her to have sex. Then Lucy agreed to do the job, and Clara changed her name to Sarah, and from today she will work under Sarah's name. Lucy is then given a beauty treatment to make her look more beautiful. The next night she went to the party, and there were a lot of girls working at the party besides her, and everyone there was wearing a lot of short black dress, but Lucy was wearing a little white dress, and Lucy was much younger in the age than all the girls there, and it was a dinner party. However, the desire of the people present here was strange. They wanted the girl here to wear short dresses to serve their dinner, and after dinner she served his drink, and Lucy had no problem wearing this. She does her job properly and gets paid for her works. Then after doing all this at another party, Lucy clearly receives a call from assistant Thomas. However, this time she did not get a job as a servant girl. This time she has to do something else. However, this time the work money is much more than the previous time, which Lucy agreed to hear. Then Lucy comes to the office. There Clara tells Lucy to have a cup of tea, in which sleeping pills are mixed, and then she will have a lot of sleep. And then at night she does not know what will happen to her, and she can wake up in the morning and go home, and this time the payment will be given at the end of the work. Lucy then drinks a cup of tea. After a while, we see her lying on the bed. Clara then brings a man home, and this guy was a guest at the first dinner party. Clara reminds him not to be close to Lucy. Then Clara leaves, and the man took off his clothes and lay down next to Lucy. The next morning, Lucy came home, and when she returns home, his landlord tells her to get out of the house, and not that Lucy had a lot of money. She left home and rented a large apartment. Lucy was working in a lab then. She gets a call from Thomas, and she was seen in Clara's office. As before, she was given that job, and this time the man who came was also at the party that night. Then Clara explained everything to the man and left. The man also took off his clothes and lay down on Lucy. The next day, while Lucy was in class, Birdman's call came, and she hurried to Birdman. When she got there, she was that Birdman had become too ill to take extra drug. Then instead of taking her to the doctor, Lucy takes off her clothes and lie down with him, and after a while Birdman died. Then Lucy goes to a party one day, and there she meets an old friend. Then Lucy proposes to him, but the man told her no, because his marriage had fixed somewhere else. Then we see Lucy in Clara's office again, and she was made to do the something. The man who came this time was also at the party that night. Then he took off his clothes and lay down with Lucy. Then one day Lucy's job left. Then one day Lucy buys a small camera and goes to Clara's office and asks Clara what they do with her after she goes to bed. Clara then says that she can't say anything about her clients because she is afraid of blackmailing his client. Then Lucy goes to the room after having tea. She put the little camera in the room before the man arrived and lay down in her place. And Lucy hid the camera in the mouth. That's why Clara did not know about it. Then came the man who came to the first night. The man then drank tea and mixed an overdose of dark into the tea. It was clear from what Clara and the man had said that she wanted to commit suicide and that it was time to lay with Lucy. The next morning Clara arrives and checks the man's pulse to see. She then started calling Lucy, but Lucy was not responding. She woke up after giving her mouth-to-mouth breath. Then Lucy was terrified to see the man dead and screaming too. And then the man is shown in the bed with Lucy, and this is where the movie ends. In fact, the movie shows how a person spent his whole life to earn money. If you like the explanation, don't forget to like, share and comment.